일단 첫 순서는 저희 유명한 우리 대표 리처드에서 좀 발표를 기본적인 인트로덕션 소개를 좀 해드릴 거고요. 아쉽게도 저희가 통역은 없고요. 좀 천천히 얘기하라고 제가 잘 단단히 신신당부를 했습니다. 그래서 네, please Richard, can you just come up over? 박수 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
Hi, yeah, so nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Richard Ma, CEO of Quantstamp. Really appreciate you all coming here. So we actually have a number of members of Quantstamp here, and also thank you to KryptoSeoul for setting up the meetup. So, I just want to kind of talk briefly about our company and what we do, and also why, I think the security problem we're solving is important. And then after that, our CTO, Steven, will kind of give a more technical talk as well. So let's just start. Yeah, so in the security space, I think for blockchain, security is still a pretty undervalued asset for smart contracts. So whenever you invest in a project that uses a smart contract, like a token sale, or you look at a project that's developing a protocol, it's really important that the smart contract which is behind that token sale or that protocol is secure, because I think that's could impact either your investment or it could impact the functionality of the project. And what we do is we apply security expertise from traditional software to this new field of smart contracts. So we come from industry and academia backgrounds. So personally, I used to be an algorithmic trader working in financial markets, and the software that I used managed millions of dollars every day for traditional financial software. And also our team here, they have expertise in formal verification and static analysis. So they're also working from a different angle to check the software. And now, with the rise of smart contracts, this is becoming quite important. And so, why are smart contracts becoming really important? So in the last 18 months, over $10 billion was raised via smart contracts. And from a year ago, where there were 500,000 smart contracts, to today, where there's over 5 million, the usage is growing exponentially. And it's because these systems are trustless, and they're automated, and they're accurate. So if you write the code, there's kind of duplication of the information, and it makes sure that it actually runs as you wrote the program. So a common misconception with smart contracts is that the blockchain itself is secure, the actual transactions are secure, but smart contracts are not necessarily secure. And because these smart contracts are being programmed by actually very new developers, this poses a lot of security risk to these programs. A lot of developers who come from traditional software backgrounds, it's their very first time building a blockchain project. And the way that you check for security in this new environment is very different from kind of the move fast and break things thought process of traditional software. And because of that, over $200 million was lost in Ether in the last 2 years due to various hacks. And you hear about these all the time. I think almost every month or two, you'll hear of another smart contract hack that happened. And recently, there was a study that was done by the National University of Singapore, and they found that over 34,000 smart contracts have some sort of a bug that could be exploitable. And currently, there's around $30 billion worth of smart contracts that are at risk. So why Quantstamp? So what we bring is the kind of software expertise to understand and secure these new types of smart contracts. Usually, kind of a typical security audit, it can take weeks to do. Sometimes months if it's a really complicated project. And what we're trying to do is automate this process because the number of experts in the world who can check the security of these smart contracts are very few in number. So if we only relied on the experts, there's no way to check all of the smart contracts that are being produced at an exponential rate, and that's the problem we're trying to solve. So these are currently some of the projects that we've worked with, including Lendroid, which did kind of lending on the blockchain, Spin, which is a ride-sharing network, Request Networks, which is kind of consumer payments on the blockchain, and Ink Protocol, which is a marketplace. And most recently, we actually audited the ICO, which is kind of a new way to do an ICO that's more fair. It's more like a protocol. And actually not on this list is we recently actually also audited Binance, the exchange. So for a specific type of bug that was occurring. So what we do is like we apply a process, and so we have we're in the process of developing our automated protocol. And while we're doing that, we're actually also working with some enterprises to learn what actual problems there are in the field. And so through that process, we actually help them with like scoping of the project, creating the smart contract, designing an architecture, all the way to the kind of smart contract auditing. And through this process, we've been learning a lot about how these projects work. So in Korea, we actually audited Carry Protocol, which is a new project coming out of here. And those are some pretty good guys. So we have a really experienced team. And I also want to talk about our strategic collaborators. So recently, we've been actually setting up an office in Asia. So Kay, he's our head of Asia Pacific back there. And we also recently hired our first Asian developer as well, Yohei, who's back there. You can meet him later. So Kay, he spent 16 years at Goldman Sachs. Yohei, he actually graduated from Harvard University, and then he worked at Google and Amazon, and also a startup as well before joining. And the reason why we're also in Korea is because we want to help build the developer community here. So this past weekend, we were actually at Block Party 2, which is a hackathon. So we're really proud to be a sponsor of the Ethereum Community Fund, as well as the National University of Singapore. And in Asia, we've been working with Omise Go, which is kind of a consumer payments company. We also work with Coin, which is an exchange on their security, and also with Blockfolio. And not on this list is we recently also gave a grant to MIT as well to help further the security research. So I think that's it for me. I want to pass it along to our CTO, Steven, for the next part of the talk. That's it. Thank you. 안녕. 감사합니다.